So indeed, I'm Roland and the Managing Director of FYI Resources. I'd like to thank all the vertical events and all the sponsors for today as well. I think it's a fabulous show. Good to see such a good turnout there. So I'm having the same problem as Graham. There we go. So. The usual disclaimers, I should say, and there we go. Competent person statements, etc. I have a further, thank you, that's a bit better. Thank you. I have a further one also to add. We're in the middle of a PFS study, so some of the statements that I'll say are going to be fairly broad. I can't go into a lot of detail in terms of the restrictions that we have on that, unfortunately, with the ASX. So along with that, but I'd like to talk about HPA as a product, industrial mineral, and I'd like to break with a bit of convention and just do a straw poll if we can. We don't have a lot of time, but could I have show of hands? Is anybody aware or familiar with HPA? Show of hands. Okay, all those that don't know about HPA, hands up, just to give a bit of an idea. Yep, all right. So it's just interesting to note. So along with the battery thematics and electric vehicles, etc., that was talked about by Mike Haraway today with Breakaway, I think we're probably going to be one of the components of that in quite an interesting way. So about HPA, really, the key things that I wanted to talk about today, the takeaway points really, is just about an outline of FYI. Probably many of you haven't heard of us before. A little bit about the HPA, what it is, the market, and why we're doing it, I suppose. So the advantages and the development stage that we're in currently, and a summary. So a quick snapshot of the company, 185 million odd shares on issue. There's some options out there that are currently getting converted, so that's approximate. Share price, as from last Friday, 12 cents. I think it's a little bit up today. Market cap, thereabouts 23 odd million, and around about 3.3 million in cash. Fairly tightly held, and important to point over on the graph. Volume's picking up as we're moving through our PFS studies and getting towards completion of that. Interesting to note, a couple of major institutions joining our register along the way, and we're very thankful about that. So given the audience and around about half not knowing what HPA is, I'll just give a bit of a summary. It's alumina product, as defined by a 99.99% purity. It has a number of particular characteristics and qualities that will lead it into a new age battery EV technology space. It does have broader implications than that, as we'll show, and as the images depict, quite a few uses. But particularly in the short term, it's the LED lights that are the immediate driver, but moving into the battery markets a little bit later on. And I won't go through all that point because we do have limited time. I'll just move on. The HPA market itself, it's an interesting one. It's not fully developed, it's quite new, and it's basically driven from the demand of, or the increasing demand of higher grade inputs for higher grade products. You saw the graphic there earlier on. Quite an astounding growth profile forecast for it from a lot of independent groups that are out there, and we hope to participate in that growth. As mentioned before, prior, LED lights, the main driver, quite a large market, $110 billion, and electric vehicles, obviously, I'm not a professional in that, so I won't forecast that, but obviously around about 2022, 2023, a huge uptake forecast for electric vehicle ownership and driving. I think out of all the slides that I'll show you today, this one probably is the key. Why we're doing HPA processing and refining, and it's quite simple. The top section of that slide shows the traditional markets, and that is HPA currently is sourced from bauxite. It has 2 or 3 stage processing and refining. That's from technology that was originally, I suppose, brought about back in the 1880s, and very little change since then. Very capital expensive, intensive, and OPEX intensive. And they produce an aluminium metal, 99% grade metal, and then they go and hydrolyse it. And they turn it from metal back into an oxide, giving a fairly indiscriminate product. What we're aiming to do through our refined process is the bottom half of that slide in blue is really only a 1 or 2 stage process to take aluminium or high aluminous clay from kaolin, just process it, beneficiate it and process it by throwing hydrochloric acid leach at it and precipitating that, and to make an end product that is defined. And using this technology, it was originally discovered, I suppose, or refined back in the 1940s. Hasn't really been used since, simply because the demand hasn't really been there. The R&D hasn't prompted the growth in the market, but now, probably the last couple of years, with the battery technology coming on board, this is particularly becoming more relevant in the marketplace. So it's old style technology, but just rehashed to adopt to our particular project. And I guess that's it. It starts with the project. We have an excellent project in Western Australia, out at a place called Cadoo. It's about 220 kilometres northeast of Perth, and it's an easy drive, very nice drive, open countryside. The graphic on the left there is a blow-up of the project area. We have an amazing wealth of infrastructure. There's roads, rail, all within a kilometre of the project. We have water, power, electricity, phones, all there. For the last 6 months, we've been drilling, defining the project. We have a JORC resource now of 16.1 million tonnes, and that's approximately about 75 years worth of mine life at this point. Through our PFS, we've just completed another drilling program for metallurgical studies, advanced metallurgical studies, and we'll take that from a resource to a reserve. Within our PFS studies, we're blessed with this deposit. Conceptually, it's a very simple mine. It's open cut, quite large, very shallow ore zones, or so I should say mineralised zones, approximately 4 to 23 metres in width, with an average of around about 18, so very easy mining, very easy processing, and I suppose the overall concept is to mine and beneficiate at site, and then truck a beneficiated product to Perth. Through our metallurgical studies that we've been carrying out under our PFS, we've determined a very simple flow sheet design, again based on the 1940s technology, but adapted to suit the characteristics of the Cadoo ore. Our strategy is really to set up and build a refinery in Perth, hopefully in Kwinana. We're intending to build in an area that we've set aside down there, and process the beneficiated ore utilising pretty much off-the-shelf standardised equipment. Nothing really special. I'm not sure if you can see that slide there. It's not the best quality, but really it's just like any other industrial mineral processing. A couple of stages. There's a leaching, and then a precipitation, and then a packaging. All very, very simple, and I think one that is designed to maximise the opportunity that is open for us. In terms of the process and our work that we've completed with the PFS so far to date. We've had some excellent progress, confirmed and demonstrated the recovery, actually achieving the 99.99 is a feat in itself. It doesn't leave much deleterious material left over, the 0.01, but not only have we been lucky in being able to define a process that suits the ore, but also one that has a fantastic recovery in terms of 97.2. And I think if you put that or parlay that into a base metals or gold, perhaps precious metals, to have a recovery like that is exceptional and have fantastic implications to the commercial aspects of this project. So the preliminary project metrics that we can talk about at this stage. Current schedules, we're continuing on with our PFS studies, metallurgical and engineering, but we hope to set a scope around a project that will have fairly attractive investment metrics to it. In terms of CapEx, we consider that to be quite industry low. OpEx, quite low as well. In terms of production, we hope that it'll be a material player in a market that's quite large, and above average return calculated is obviously our goal, and we're working towards that. It'll be a low cost and very simple process and operation, and it'd be a companion to the traditional HPA inputs. In terms of our work, the top line there, I suppose, is our conceptual desktop studies that was completed in the first 6 months. That really, the results of those impacted us to the point where we thought that this actually has gone from a concept to a real project, and hence we embarked on our PFS studies, which were underway, due in June 2018, and we think the results of that will be very, very positive. So, in summary, we think, and in fact I believe that it's a great opportunity at ground level for investment in this particular company. Also, investment in the industry. It's certainly something that's going to be on the horizon for a lot of investment metrics, and particularly with the growth and the HPA need and requirement into battery thematics. So, just a quick outline of the board. A couple of gentlemen there you may or may not know, but certainly very collaborative board, and we're working towards this BFS. So, a nice quick presentation. I thank you for your time, and please, I have a booth out in the lobby. This presentation is up on the website if you'd care to look at that, or come and see me. I'm more than happy to have a chat about HPA, something that might be new to you or something you might be missing in your portfolio. So appreciate your time. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Roland.